Alright, so it is May 2nd, and this is my April wrap up. If you don't know me, I'm Josie, and this is Pages and Flaws. I have mostly been knitting scrubbies and knitting on my blanket, so I got tons of those down. They don't take long. I can usually do 4 or 5 of them through a day. They're pretty quick and they're a lot of fun. But to the books. So this month I read 4 books and I was involved in 2 readathons. And so the first one was Randomathon with Macy from The Bright Side Girl. And this was, for April, was Randomathon, which the theme was food. And so I read The Sandwich Thief. I only read 1 book, unfortunately. And this is a free book I got from the library. So, like, on the free shelf. And so this is about a little boy that loves the sandwiches his parents make for him every day. Every day there's different, every day there's more delicious than the last. Then one Monday morning, someone dares to steal his favorite sandwich of all, ham, cheddar, and kale. Furious, he begins a fevered, famished investigation to unmask the thief. The days go by, the suspects multiply, and his sandwiches continue to disappear. Will he ever eat lunch again? And I gave this 3 stars. It was mostly black, red, and gold throughout the book. This part's green. And the rest is, like I said, gold, black, and red. And it was a cute story. I wanted to find out who did it. It's a middle grade graphic novel, so my niece is going to try this one out. But overall, it was just fine. And sometimes, like, this is by a French author, and sometimes, like, when it's written in a different language and translated, it just sometimes, I don't know, it just feels like a miscommunication of what the book is trying to do. And I felt like that a little bit through this. Like, some of it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But overall, it was fine. Okay, then the next book, readathon I was in was the library. No, I'm trying to remember. Library-a-thon. You had to get stuff from your library, and Morgan had all these different prompts, and so I don't remember what prompt I used this for, but I have read most of C.M. Gudraz's books, and this is my sweet Libby. So Crystal has never had the best relationship with her mother-in-law, Cheryl. Crystal's husband, Andrew, is what many would call a mommy's boy. In the past, Cheryl carried on like she didn't exist. Livy, her granddaughter, even shies away from her cold personality. The past few weeks have been drastically different, though. Something is off about Cheryl, and her outbursts and rude comments are out of control. The relationship between Crystal and Cheryl are pushed to the breaking point, leading up to their annual family camping trip. Their usual campground is closed due to repairs, but Cheryl has a different plan. She has found a new campground that she claims will be what brings them closer. This camping trip is far from what they expect, and Crystal fears that this is all in her mother-in-law's plans to ruin her marriage. What Crystal doesn't know is that Crystal's plans are far more sinister than that. Is this a mother-in-law's rage, or is there something deeper working under the surface of the waters at Camp Alternaria Woods? So, yeah, this was really short. I think it's about 90 pages. So I read it in a night and I really liked it. And the end was creepy. So she writes horror, romance, kind of everything. And this was more, I don't know. The family was weird. The mother-in-law was terrible. And yeah, I get 4 stars. I really liked it. So the ending was really creepy. But if you like extreme horror or dabble a little bit in that genre, her books are really short and really, really good. And like I said, I read all of them. So, and I gave this 4 butterflies. And if you read the book, you know what butterflies means. Okay, so Joanne Fluke, the queen of the culinary mystery. So the series that I think it's going to be 30 in the series, and she creates Hannah Swenson series, and Hannah is in charge of this. I almost said Sweet Bean. That is a cafe here. That's not right. Of the cookie jar. And so this is bakery owner Hannah Swenson has a dress to fit into and a date with her sister Andrea at Lake Eden's new health club, Heavenly Bodies. Dragging herself out of bed on a frigid Minnesota morning for exercise of all things is bad enough. Discovering the body of a man-eating bombshell Ronnie Ward floating in the gym jacuzzi, okay, that's worse. Nor does it help that there's a plate of the cookie jar's very own cream puffs garnishing the murder scene. Trying to narrow the list of Ronnie's enemies down to fewer than half the town's female population, Hannah has her plate full. Trouble is, when it comes to cookies and to murder, there's always room for one more. So, I love her series. So I usually give her books 4 to 5 stars. Excuse me. I'm not too picky about it. But I think this one is 4 stars. I actually kind of knew who the killer was because this series is a series on Hallmark with Allison Sweeney and Cameron Matheson. And so I knew who the killer was. And the killers in the TV show or in the movie series and in the books are similar, but the characters and how they look are very different. So I knew who did this, and I'm like, I don't really care that Ronnie died. She was terrible. That's awful to say, but yeah, she was not very nice to like the women in her in her exercise classes, but she was great to the men. And so finding out who did this and different stuff, I already knew, but it was fun to see who Ronnie came across and why she was the way she was. So it was interesting. Okay, the last one. And I just finished this in time on April 30th to be done. So I joined, this was kind of a fast decision. On Friday, Ashley's Little Library has a 24-hour horathon. And so Ashley and Elizabeth from Reading Riley was doing sprints, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have the horror book that they were buddy reading, but I have Hidden Pictures, and I'm just going to read it. So I started this Friday and got done Sunday night. Monday? No, it was Tuesday. I don't know my days. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Sorry. Okay, so This is about Mallory Quinn, who takes a job as a babysitter for Ted and Caroline Maxwell. She bonds with Teddy, a sweet, shy boy who is never without his sketchbook and pencil. His drawings are the usual fare: trees, rabbits, balloons. But one day, he draws a man dragging a woman's lifeless body. Then Teddy's artwork becomes increasingly sinister, and his stick figures quickly evolve into lifelike sketches well beyond the ability of any 5-year-old. Mallory begins to wonder if these are glimpses of a long, unsolved murder, perhaps relayed by a supernatural force. Knowing how crazy it sounds, Mallory nevertheless sets out to decipher the images and save Teddy before it's too late. Now, okay. I knew a few years ago this came out. I don't remember when it came out, but a few years it came out in 2022, and I watched these, and it was such an interesting premise at the time, and it still was an interesting premise, and I wanted to read it, but everybody I watched in the book community, they didn't care for the ending. And I was like, well, I don't want to read this book and then hate the ending. That's kind of, I'll pass right now. And I had my suspicions, but what really was going on was really surprising. And I was kind of shocked with what happened. And I had no problem with the ending whatsoever. I actually gave this book 5 stars. It was my favorite book of April. So, and I just learned that he is coming out with a new book, and I'm in October, and I'm so excited to be reading it. It was so good, and I shouldn't let anybody else's opinions of a book change mine. And oh, this was awesome. If you've read it, let me know. If you haven't, I suggest reading it. It's so good. And it went so quickly. From Friday to Tuesday, I was done with it. And so I want to show some pictures. And it will take a second. Sorry. Let me get to the pictures. Okay, so Teddy starts drawing like this, you know, cute little bunnies, and I probably can goat. And then this. And then the drawings kind of get more advanced, I guess I'll say. Like, they get more like this. Like, there's no way a 5-year-old probably could do that. So who is doing it? And the pictures were just good. They were just so good. Whoever drew these, it was amazing. And trying to put the pieces together and figure out what is going on and who did it. It was a great book. So, yeah. Those were my books for April. And I know what else I forgot to say. I was reading this during Randomathon, but I have joined Chantel's bookshelf challenge in 2024 for 2024, and I picked Montgomery Side. And so the prompt was for this month to read about a character with red hair, and Hannah does have red hair in the book, and she has blonde hair in the Hallmark stuff, but she does have red hair, so that was my pick, and because I didn't finish it during Randomathon. So yeah, I'm really happy. My goal was to read 5, but I'm really happy with what I read. April went speedy fast, and I think that's pretty much it for right now. So, it's supposed to be really nasty here later, so I wanted to get this out because, when it storms, it affects my internet. So, and just my phone in general. And, it's supposed to be raining all day, and it hasn't rained at all yet. So, I don't know. The weather app don't know what it's talking about. All right. So, everybody have a good day. And I guess I'll just say, if you were in where the tornadoes were this week, I am thinking about you and praying for you. And it's just horrible. I watched the Oklahoma video footage, and it's just devastating. And we had one quite a few years ago now, but just seeing it on TV and everything go on is different than being in that area that the tornado went through and seeing people's houses in disarray. It's a totally different experience. So I feel you. And I just hope, the community comes together and you can get through this hard time. So I hope everybody has a good day, and I'll see you soon.